100%, bro. I don't like bougie coffee.
No oat milk for this guy, man. Nah,
No, no.
nah. Forget
It's
about
funny,
it.
I thought it was goat milk the entire time, then
So
I
did I.
did remember it's a vegan place, so why would they have
Oh,
goat milk?
oh, that's a thing?
Yeah, because
Uh,
the milk is a thing again, like, right? Milk and vegans don't mix, chat,
rat milk even?
like
I
rat any
wouldn't.
milk.
Oh, any animal milk?
Any milk that comes from animals, anything with hair.
What about human milk?
Oh, shit.
Can you drink human milk?
Would you have your kid drink human milk if you're a vegan family? That's a weird one, I never thought about that.
MPK
Holy
says
shit,
no.
almond milk. Nope, you
Almond.
get almond titty.
Oh, I didn't even
You
know
don't
you
get
could milk an almond.
yeah.
Son of a bitch.
You can milk an almond, you can
What
milk
are
a
you doing,
coconut,
babe? Get out of my room. I'm milking a fucking almond. God.
a coconut, fucking oat. You can milk anything with nipples,
Oh,
you know?
okay. Yeah, those
You've
almond
never seen an
nipples.
oat nipple?
I
Come on, bruh.
have to say I'm missing out on oat nipples. Like those.
Speaking of oat nipples, Supreme Court.
Yes. Supreme Court. Go ahead.
So so in Texas, I guess even though Texas is all about freedom and government not being involved, if it bothers them, government's gotta be involved. So,
Mm,
the Supreme Court's voted 5 to 4 to block Texas's social media censorship law, which is, essentially, they wanna be able to sue companies like Meta and YouTube for their personal, private companies' content moderation policies.
all
Now,
right. All right. Let's see what
coming
these
from
are.
guys who complain every other second about, uh, you know,
You can find
content
us on Twitter.
policies and things like that, you can find us on Twitter. Um, I don't know, man. It's a private company. Like, I don't
Yeah.
agree with it. I don't like it, but it's and especially when it's like conservatives. Come on, y'all. I thought it was less government.
Yeah,
Isn't that
let's read the article. Scroll down a bit. So Axios, the Supreme Court has voted 5 to 4 to block Texas social media censorship law, a major boon for tech companies who have been fighting against content moderation laws that would fundamentally change how they do business. Why it matters. Conservative states have launched a legal war on social media companies in an effort to stem what they see as a wave of censorship. But this decision, like other recent rulings, suggests they face an uphill climb in court. Okay, so what's happening? The Supreme Court's decision means that Texas can't enforce a new law that would allow Texans and the state's attorney general, to sue tech giants like Meta, YouTube over their content moderation policies. Okay, well, of course not. A lot of people have this confusion that as a citizen, um, you have the right to free speech everywhere,
yeah,
and you have the rights provided by your Constitution everywhere. And that's just not the
in
case. The
every
only one
situation.
That's not, yeah, that's not the case. You don't have the right to free speech in the middle of Walmart. Okay, you don't. That's not a public square. That is a private company. You
Yeah.
don't have the right to free speech for anywhere except uh, protected by Congress. So your government is the only one that's allowed you to give free speech, and
Well, like, you
Congress
could be in
is
your home talking shit, but
sure
you can't even put if you put it out there to the world, it's not, gonna be allowed. People will shut you down, man. Like, it's their platform, and they're gonna shut you down. We can't even tell where to get
private
seeds from.
company.
So,
Yeah.
it just is what it is, man. It really boils down to following their terms of service or fucking off and don't be on the platform. I
No,
think
and
the
I
latter is the best option, just don't be on the platform.
that's right. And of course,
Texas should just boycott Meta and not be on there.
the argument is that there's no other platform when you talk about these places. Facebook. There's the five, right? There's the Facebook, the YouTube, the Twitter, the whatever. I can't even name them all.
TikTok's
But
another one,
other
but
than
TikTok's, like, for
that,
kids and,
yeah.
you
But other
know,
than that, like they say, go use another platform. Like what? Rumble or what? Truth
what's Trump shit?
Social
True, yeah, True
or
Social.
yeah. Like what is that? That's it's not going to happen. These companies have like monopolies on the industry, and
Build a
that's where
website and start fucking
start
writing
your own. But
articles.
that's even worse of a
I know no
fucking
one's gonna see it, and I
no.
get it, but
Yeah,
it's like, it's one of those things where, like, I don't think I should have to wear my fucking seatbelt when I'm in a car because this dickhead next to me in his motorcycle doesn't have to wear his helmet, right?
mm, mm-hmm,
Doesn't make a fucking difference. My
mm-hmm.
opinion doesn't matter because this is the law. Like, and this is a situation here where, like, I applaud Texas for wanting to stand up and do something, but at the same time, like, you can't argue it's a free company. Like, it's a free country, free company. They can do what the fuck they wanna do. They can
Yeah,
choose to do what they want to do.
yep,
And
yeah.
that sucks, but they could decide
But
to
that's
say
the way it
nobody could
is.
wear purple shirts on there.
They're
You can't wear
arguing
fucking Astro headphones.
they
Like,
do have an argument, like, they're saying that, once you become a public square, you're the town the town foyer, if you will, or the town square where people come to speak their mind. You're no longer a private company. You're a public nah, it's hard to describe really because you're not a public company, but you're providing a place where people can voice their
well, you
opinion.
become a public platform.
So they're
Like,
arguing that because of that you're not just a private company. This is a place where you have mass monopoly over information, and if people want to have that information out, they have to use your platform.
yeah,
And over the course of the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, it has been well documented that these liberal social media companies, which are almost all of them, have
yeah,
been very heavily censoring conservative thought. So there's only been one side of the argument ever presented. And if you've been presenting the other side, you have been silenced, you've been suppressed, you've been just not given the same opportunities. So they're arguing that, and maybe they have something to stand on here. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a judge, so it's not for me to decide. But they're saying that no, if you're going to give one side an opportunity to speak, we should all have an opportunity to speak evenly.
or
So
or else you should fucking hinder the voice of the other extreme voices, you know what
a
I'm
hundred
saying?
percent. If you're
Because
gonna
there's
if
been
you're
some
gonna hinder
extreme
one,
far
you got to
left
hinder
shit,
both.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
of course.
that's my thing is, like, I guess in my small circle, and this is everybody's like, "Well, I don't see this here." Like, I've got some radical people that I haven't unfollowed on social media, and, like, they've not been censored in any way whatsoever, but then larger voices have.
Are
That's
they
where it boils
left?
down to.
Are
No,
they?
hardcore right.
Oh, hardcore
Hardcore,
right.
but and
Okay.
they share,
Okay.
like, the most
Curious.
crazy fucking conspiracy shit, but it's like they can't incite a group of people to do anything. This is the argument, is this is cause and effect type of shit where does somebody's tweet or somebody's post cause this big issue? But at the same time, like, free speech, intention between, like, words, I think those are definitely things that should be taken into context, but at the same time, like, it's their fucking platform. It sucks. I don't like it, but it's like, what are we gonna do in a yeah, I mean, we can't even talk about weed half the time, man. So it's like,
The
I don't
thing
have a
is,
whole lot of
is
sympathy in these situations because 'cause I've been the
right,
victim, so I'm like, fuck off."
and I
Been
hate being a
dealing with this shit
victim.
forever,
The thing
you
is
know?
that it's like a lot of our people think that the argument's to be taken up with the platforms. Weed is still federally illegal. Arguing with these platforms now, of course, we're talking about all kinds of speech, not just weed and seed speech. But when you think about our community, it's like weed is still federally illegal. It's not YouTube, Twitter, or Instagram that we have to point the finger at. It's our government, for crying out
Yeah.
loud. They're the ones that make it so that they have to jump through these hoops. It's like Pigeons and Rob. If you guys had a multi-million billion dollar company and all you had to do was censor the weed content, not even just limit it, would you do it? It's like probably, you know what I mean? Like if it was the difference between making it and
Or not
failing,
making, yeah,
that's
that's
what
what they do, yeah.
it is what it is. It's not censorship. It's literally just I don't have a choice. It's
Yeah.
either I face federal prosecution or I just don't have you on my platform. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what it boils down to is, like, and then beyond even that, the federal prosecution's one thing, but then even their advertisers, they don't give a fuck about
It's
anybody.
money.
Yeah, exactly, and, like,
Hun-
Zen and Jazz there, you guys are confused, clearly. We're talking more about either liberal or conservative. Those are the 2 sides we're talking about, where it seems like conservative does get a lot more bullshit from social media being hindered in their voice more, and it doesn't matter how radical the speech is, we see that just happening. People get taken off of platforms when they don't even say that radical as shit, but then you see other sides say crazy shit again, circling back to H3H3, like, how are these guys not gone?
Right. And
And
I want to be
it's literally that's literally inciting violence, not
that's what they did.
insinuating that you're inciting violence,
That's
because
what
that's
they
what
did.
every other thing has been insinuating. We need to make a change, stand and do so, like, versus a terrorist attack. Like, they literally fucking said it, and they're
Yeah.
not being taken off other platforms.
No, no, and YouTube has systematically struck our community, our cannabis community, for quote unquote dangerous content. So there is no what is dangerous content anymore? Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck
Uh,
knows? It's in the
well, and
hands
that's
of
where, like,
somebody like this.
well, and
I
plus they're manually looking at shit now too. So who's the person who's manually, well, even if they
look
are though, who is the person who's manually looking at these things? Their belief
right.
system may be different. And when it's
Yeah,
political, You could have someone majorly liberal looking at a conservative thing and saying,
Yep.
"Ixnay on the Xnay,"
And that's how
and
it
then
is happening.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that's what,
I do
that's
want to address Zen says, dudes, there's always more than two sides, more than two ways to doing nearly everything in life. To say both sides is such a we'll say a diminishment of the issue. I actually totally disagree with that statement. When you look at a political spectrum, okay, there are only two sides. There's a right side and a left side, and there is an entire spectrum in
yeah.
between. Okay, so you're right when there's plenty of different areas of conversation, but the reality is when you're having a political conversation, there's only two sides. There
Well, and we
is
were
only
talking
two sides.
extreme one way and extreme
That's
the
right.
other way,
That's right. That's
because
right.
in
And
social media, those
it
are the
kind of
ones who are
takes away
hindered the
the
most.
impact when you have to explain it, in terms of like what we were talking about because we were talking about it. But the thing
Yeah.
is that a political spectrum only has two sides. That's a fact, and there's a bunch of views or positions or ideologies that fit in between that spectrum. So
Yeah,
that's
either way, you still even in libertarians, you still fit in between there. It's not like there's one side that's
yeah.
like, "I just want all animals to run shit."
A libertarian is just
Nature. Well, I
slightly
guess you could
more
be anarchist.
left. Yeah, anarchist is
So I
still
guess
on there.
well, I know, but I'm saying that would not be right or left. If you just fuck all government, end of
Yeah, yeah, you could
conversation.
say yeah,
That would be
sure,
that'd be a
sure.
third one, but that's just less of a conversation. I think when it boils down to it, it's just extreme beliefs on social media that get hindered, but it seems like the extreme conservative beliefs more than anything. It
That
just
get
seems
hindered?
again, just because it just seems
It's
like
not even extreme beliefs that are being censored, you know what I
well,
mean? It
that's
is
yeah, yeah, yeah,
conservative
yeah.
belief over the course of the last 10 years on these platforms, the right side has been suppressed. The entire right side. So forget about the far right, because of course, let's just argue that these two sides can be suppressed, even though I'm a free speech absolutist and I believe that anybody should be able to say whatever the fuck you want. Let's just say they can't. But there's an entire spectrum of people that cannot voice their opinion without repercussion. That's an issue,
Well,
and I
but
say
that's what
that
I'm
as
saying,
someone
like,
who's left leaning. It's like
if they're more
everyone should be able
popular,
to
it
present.
is. It
Well,
depends on your
no,
popularity. Because well, look at dude from, whatchamacallit, I know him from
go ahead.
Parks and Rec, but he's from bigger shit too, Jurassic Park,
Yeah, yeah,
and
I know who you're talking about.
so
I know who you're
he's
talking
people
about.
are trying to get him, like, removed from movies based on his political belief and who he
Yeah,
thinks he's
that's
endorsed, like,
canceled.
that's
That's
great, but I mean, like,
people are trying to cancel people
it's
all the time.
only because it was him leaning towards the right.
Okay. Well,
You see what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like,
All I'm and
Joe Rogan
that
supports
proves
Bernie
into my
Sanders,
point.
and nobody's like, "Cancel him," like, I just don't understand where that comes into play, where it really seems like and again, I would say I probably lean a little more left, but I don't like the government at being involved in anything, so
Right.
it's hard, but it's
Right.
like
Which is not a far right, but that's a right
yeah, yeah, yeah,
ideology.
exactly,
Less
exactly,
government.
exactly,
And I
so
and I'm fiscally conservative. I would consider myself socially liberal, meaning that like
my
I
wallet's
believe in
conservative.
yeah, that's right. But I also believe in a welfare system. I believe that there should be a social net for
To an
people to
extent,
land in.
yeah, yeah.
That because I am a product of that social net. If I didn't have something that propped me up in my
Librarians.
worst state, I wouldn't be here. So it's like I'm a product of a welfare state. So it's like I'm thankful of that. But that there's
Yeah,
lines to be drawn. Not everybody should have access to free money. Not everybody should have access to services that they don't need. These kind of things. These kind of
yeah,
things.
well,
But
this is why we're having the shit we're dealing with today. I mean, is the constant handouts and all the bullshit there. We just deal with the
right.
situation now where, like,
Oh,
us amongst people simmer down.
almost dropped my weed, bro. That was
Oh. Oh,
close.
the top's not on there?
No.
Oh, you're ballsy. You're
Yeah,
ballsy.
Yolanda
You're
would have
ballsy.
been pissed.
She'd have been pissed. You dropped it all over her
Woo,
now? Yolanda,
whew.
watch out,
It's all
girl.
good. She good.
Now,
Sorry,
to
go ahead.
just circle back and move past the political conversation, but we will,
Mhm.
and we do get
We
political
will
over here on
eventually.
Top Butts. This is
Yeah,
why
we
we
fuck.
made the show because we can't talk about some from the stash and pit. Like, I guess we could on peas, but it doesn't make
It
sense on our
could.
shit. But in
Right.
this sense, right here, this is another situation of division with media. And the fact that Texas is trying to do something about it, I do like, but it's about overreaching in an extent where it's like, how far does that go? You're allowed to sue for any bit of anything? Like, what if you say some really fucking crazy shit and share some crazy shit and someone deletes it? Because it's like,
How do you police that,
how do
man?
you
How do you
exactly? That's
police
my
this?
point is how do you
Yeah.
police this shit? Where do you draw the line? So I think in general, it's a private company. The best people can do is to boycott these companies. I mean, so many people have left Facebook, whether they're on Instagram and still on a
I
Meta-based
haven't been
company.
on. I haven't Facebook in 10 years.
Exactly, like, we deal with Messenger, but you're not on that motherfucker, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Nope.
I deal with shit because 'cause I've got people I know, like, out of the country or state, and they're only on that platform. Now that my
Mhm.
grandpa's back in Israel, it works perfect. He wants to
That's see,
talk
that's
on
what I
WhatsApp,
used
but
that's what I
I don't do
used
it.
to use Facebook for, was to keep in contact with people that I'm not with anymore. I grew up on a military base. All my friends are scattered all over the country. But those aren't the people that update their Facebook. It's those fucking vocal losers that just update their Facebook all the
Yeah,
time, and those depressed fucking guys trying to
I've
bring the world to,
I've
"Oh,
unfollowed the shit out of 'em. I just get all these
woe is me."
motivational pages and shit, and
Just like,
MMA.
"Fuck, I hate life,
Yeah.
Monday,
Those are the people
Tuesday,
I've unfollowed. It's crazy. My buddies who have shared the most radical political shit, either side, they're even still in my feed because sometimes I just laugh. I'm like, "Oh, he's fucking crazy." But the ones who are depressing and bring my life down, and like I said, the anchors in life, like, they get a quick unfollow. I don't fuck with you. I don't fuck with
Yep,
you. And MPK,
yep,
First Amendment, all about it, but it's not a
all about
conversation
it.
with a private company, man.
That's
Like, I
right.
can decide to delete a comment if I wanted to, if somebody's pissing me off enough, and I still
Yeah.
believe in the First Amendment. It's my
You
fucking
you
choice,
don't
my
yeah,
freedom.
the First
Yeah.
Amendment is that Congress, okay, shall not make a law that imposes upon religion, what is it, prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or the press or the right to the people peaceful to assemble and the petition the government for redress of grievances. So if you notice, your First Amendment is only afforded by Congress.
Yeah, it's just
Congress.
that's what it boils
That's
down
it.
to. It's just
That's
people
it.
use the blanket statement.
YouTube
It's
is
ignorance
not
that says,
Congress.
"Free speech means I can say whatever the fuck I want, wherever the fuck I want. Free speech." Rah!" And it's like, that's not how it works, man.
Nope.
That's not how it works. You can say what you want, but there's repercussions. Somebody could
Yep.
delete it. Someone could say, "Fuck you." Someone could punch you in the face. You know, somebody could if it's a company, they could decide to remove you from the platform if they feel it's a threat.
That's
Now,
right.
just talking shit is one thing. Like, that's the thing, but it's that's why I feel like it's only the popular people who have an issue, because you have influence. The person has influence, and these
Mm.
social platforms wanna cut their influence, whether it's spreading truth, misinformation, or opinion. They wanna cut that right away, and it's like, "What the fuck, man?" Like, that's the thing that pisses me off. It's like, let people decide for themselves, platform or not. It's like, so you're concerned about people being in you know, incentivized in their life because it's a crew thing, like it's a club-based, mentality, like a group mentality, like, I don't know what it is. Why would you be worried? Have faith in people.
They'll
You know what I'm
surprise you.
saying? Like,
They'll
yeah,
surprise you.
have faith in people, man. Like, I don't understand. I think it's the fact that the platforms are hurting themselves. They're literally hurting themselves because even people on the left or the right who are more in the middle are like,
They
"Fuck
don't
that." Like,
care, man.
well, but what
Like
they do care about
no,
is when they see their friends getting messed with, they're like, "What? What?" Or when they see like,
right,
it's
right. But
unattractive to even be on the platform,
the thing
you know?
is that it's, the majority of people, in my opinion, sit somewhere centered. They're slightly right, slightly left, maybe right or left. I've got right friends, I've got left friends. Love them to pieces. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
There's always extremes on each side. There's always Mike at the party that just wants to tell you how horrible Trump is, and there's always Melissa trying to tell you how horrible Biden is.
And I still
That's
pass
one
them the
thing.
blunt, and we're still
But in
very cool, like,
exactly. But the thing is that the
that's what's
majority of
crazy.
people are hardworking. They're family people. They don't care what's going on in fucking Washington. They don't care what's going on in Ukraine. They hear about it. You know what I mean? But in reality, we got jobs to do. We got bills to pay. We got a family to
Yeah,
raise.
the
We
majority are
can't
too busy.
we can't be distracted by these things. And that's why it's like we talked about this the other day in terms of like, why is this Amber Heard Johnny Depp thing getting so fucking much attention? That's why. That's why. Because people are tired of listening. Trump this, fucking Biden that, Congress this, government that, Supreme Court this, something that. You know,
Need a little political break, even though we've talked about it for the past half hour, but I
100%.
feel like the way it's communicated as a discussion versus a push down your throat with one side's opinion versus the other side's opinion is like, that's how it should be, man. It should really
An
come
open
down to the
discussion.
fact that people have, their own opinion, but should have an open platform to discuss it without
Mm,
somebody shitting on you or
yeah,
trying to bring you down, and that's
I
where,
think
like,
that's fair.
if your circle, puts you down for your opinion, don't be around them. You know what I'm saying? Like, that means they shouldn't be people you're around. Like, they're shitty people. If only you only wanna be around people who agree with you, then that's just the another group think situation. I try to avoid that as much as I can too. Social media oftentimes promotes that because people will only friend or follow those people, and the division becomes more and more obvious when
Comes
all
an
you
echo
see is their
chamber.
belief. Well, yeah, it becomes more because all you see is this, and you're like, once in a while you'll see someone's other opinion and it'll piss you off because you're not used to that. And it just is really it's really unfortunate, man. If more people would
Mhm.
branch out and have these open discussions without getting upset, it would really help, I think, our whole community as a whole. Not just the
Totally
cannabis
agree.
community, but I
Totally
mean,
agree. But I believe a lot of these social media platforms are the reason we have so much division in the first place. There isn't as much division, in my opinion, in the world as there is than what we see through TV, online, all this. It's like, is there really that
100.
much division in your home community? Do you
I don't see it,
really
man.
have people with pitchforks come into your house because you're a Jew? No.
Or because you voted
Or
this side or that side.
because you voted left or right. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? No, no. I can literally have a conversation at my local diner about which way I go on the. Now you're gonna have someone that's a little louder
Some
when they
snarky,
talk
yeah.
than other ones, but the reality is there isn't the division that we're told there is. Yeah, there is division. There's always division. That's what creates
It's humans, man.
a stable society, in my opinion. But there isn't. There is
But we're getting
not as much.
played, son. We're getting
It's just when you
played.
turn on TV, it's liberals this, conservatives that, white guys this, black guys that,
I know
gun
every
violence
article
this, gun
whenever a
violence
cop shoots
that.
it, police officer shoots a white police officer shoots black man. It's like, why not police officer
Why
shoots
not?
civilian?
Or suspect or anything. You know what I mean? Or
Like, I well,
somebody
I would
shoots some. Or why
you'd
does it
think
even make the news? It's work. Why doesn't
well, I
my
know, but
work
if
make the
somebody does
news?
get shot, you think that the conversation would be, "Oh, whoa, it was a peace or police officer who shot a civilian. Fuck." You know what
Right,
I'm saying?
right. A
Like,
real
that should be
conversation. He
yeah.
wasn't even a criminal. Yeah, something
You
like
know,
that.
that's the
Yep.
conversation, it's not about
Yeah.
color, like, what the fuck, man? This is more media just getting the clicks and getting the attention because negativity does draw people in. I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Of
scientifically
course.
proven. It's
Yeah.
not bro science, so, these
I've never
companies,
driven
once it
by a
became more
train
profit
wreck that I couldn't watch.
exactly. Once news became opinion news, I saw this comment that popped in earlier, that's really what happened. Once cable became a thing, and once we got less than just a few channels for news, it became entertainment.
Mhm.
Like, there's a guy I know, his favorite show is Tucker Carlson. Favorite show. Show.
Show. Mm, that's
So, like,
tough.
people will say, "I like Walking Dead," or "I like fucking Stranger Things," or "I like
Uh,
fucking Eastbound and Down." Tucker Carlson. It's like, "What?" A
yeah,
fucking opinion news is your favorite entertainment to watch,
yeah,
not just
yeah.
to
That
get
sucks.
information, like, wow,
Yeah, that sucks. Yep, that sucks. But
that
to each
sucks.
their own, man. To each their own. Again, part of that vocal minority. You know what I mean? The loud
Yeah,
ones are always. It's always the minority that are the
yep,
loud ones because the majority of people are working too fucking hard to be bothered, to complain,
yeah,
to whine, to bitch, to burn an album. You know what I mean? Like no,
yeah,
like I don't care. I got
yeah.
shit to do. But
Facts,
anyways,
dude,
anyway,
facts,
great
man.
conversation, bro. And we know we passed the conversation off to you guys as well. And what I do appreciate is I can see everybody having a conversation, civil
Civil.
conversation in the chat here over on Top Buds on Twitch, man. We really appreciate you guys participating in the chat because, man, we can have a conversation. You guys are here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday with us. Rob and I disagree on a lot of shit. We
Lot of shit.
agree on a lot more, but we disagree on a lot of shit. And it's like hear each other flushing our ideas out, and it's like, okay, I see why you believe that. I see why you believe that. I might disagree, but I can understand
The
why
logic
you
behind
believe
yeah,
that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think that's fair. I think that's fair. And I think, a lot of my major opinions in life, my big ones, I'm not going to get into it right now, but the big ones in my life, I had going one way, but it was because I listened to somebody who thought differently than me that I was like, oh my God, that makes so much fucking sense. I was like,
yeah.
oh my God, I was raised my whole life to think this way. But then the moment I hear somebody say it from the other perspective, I'm like, oh, yours sounds way better.
Well, a
You
lot of
know?
it's programming, man, like, my dad's dad, because he was never a grandpa to me, when I met him when I was, like, 26. I knew him when I was really little, but I don't remember him at all, and we got in a big argument about how he's always a philosophy guy, about how there's no such thing as free will, and I'm like, "That's bullshit. If I decide right now I wanna do this, I could do this," and he's like, "Well, the only reason you know you can do that is because of programming and because of your environment in which you're brought up in." I'm like, "No," like, and by the end of the conversation and a couple grams of organics, he was right, man. I was like, "Holy fuck." If you
Ah,
think about it, I only know this because I know this. I
yeah,
only
man.
do
I
this because I do this, and that sounds crazy, but it's like, it drop somebody in the middle of fucking Africa who lives here in Michigan or something and see how they react and what they do
see how
versus
much
someone
free
who
will
lives
they
there.
have.
Well, yeah, versus somebody who lives like, how they handle life, how they go through life, like,
100%.
crazy when you think
100%.
about that. So
So
people will think and act the way they do based on what they know and what they've been forced to know. you know?
Yes. Yeah, there's a quote out there, and I wish I could, kind of, uh, give credit to where credit's due, but, um, it's oh,
Smart.
shit! What did you just say?
Talking about you don't have free will, like it's programming.
They say that your
Everything's programming.
first thought your first thought is the one that society has influence
Yeah, it's
on,
not your own thought.
and your second thought is your own original thought. Um, that's I believe
You don't
that
even know a language. I mean, think about that. Like, what does your conscious say to you without even knowing a language, without even knowing the
when you're
words?
born.
Those words are
Yeah,
given to you. That's some deep
yeah,
shrimp talk. But
that's right.
this is where
This free will conversation is one that I've studied quite a bit about free will, and
well, bro, this
especially
is
when you
why we have our
interpret
issues.
religion into it as well. Because
Like
like
I was, man. Thank you for saying.
if you have free will, and it's like if you believe in like a religion, do you really, or anything, do you really have free will? Do you, because if that's the case, your entire future's already laid out for you by
Yeah,
your divine
by the
creature.
philosophies that have been put on you, so to speak. And
So
that's where
yeah,
the
you,
political side of things comes into place. If 9 times out of 10 you look at someone's upbringing, their environment, where they're from, that's gonna have to do with a lot of their beliefs. And not always, because some people will be the polar opposite, but it boils down to knowing that whatever your initial common sense is may only be common to those in your community or around you, because that's really where your belief system comes into place. You'll find it throughout experience and in life, but for years I thought a different way than I do now. It was only like doing my own research and studying things more and opening up my mind with the psychedelics to really think different, that I
yeah,
start to really
100%.
analyze stuff in a new way. So it's crazy, man. It's
Yeah,
crazy. When you
philosophy is an incredible. I think, like, I don't know how much philosophy you've dove into.
not like
Um,
formally, but I organically, yeah,
yeah,
lots.
yeah. Well, man, that's just it. It's like you start reading some of these philosophers. Descartes. I'm sure you've heard the "I think, therefore I am" argument,
Yes,
the
sir.
analysis. Socrates.
That's
He's
some
he's
fucking
famous with the Socratic method.
manifestation shit. You know what I'm saying?
Question everything. You just question. There's some incredible philosophers out there. The whole idea of the mind, as like a computer, or as like this being all of its own, not just a piece of meat, but like our thoughts. Where does that shit even happen?
Yeah.
When we think. Like, if you could tell me, if I don't, like, if you thought of something and I said, where's that thought happening right now? Well, you said right here. I'd say, okay, well, where? Right there. You say, well, it's in my brain. I was like, okay, can you point? If I opened up your brain and you said, right there, could you point that thought, cut that thought out, and then hold it?
Give me a piece
No.
of that thought.
Give me a piece of that thought. You can't.
Yes, yeah, we talked
So
about
where does
this
that shit
briefly.
happen?
We talked about this
Yeah.
briefly on an episode, but that's a fucking deep one, man. We need to get deeper on the conversation on. I mean, we can a little bit right now, but I want to look on some
No,
crazy
100%.
clips. But
Yeah, no, this is something that we need to dive into.
this would be a whole episode, man,
Yeah,
because
it's a
like,
lot of crazy shit.
well,
But
there's layers, bro.
in
There's
other
layers.
nudes, before we do get into it, I want